Gandamu Schmo. Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review of the HG1144 Gundam G40 Industrial Design version. This isn't going to be a particularly long review. There's some things to talk about, not really as much, but let's get into it. So starting off, the build process was fairly easy. I mean, if you built, it's a different process for the building this than a standard, granddaddy HG. But at the same time, if you built one, you're kind of familiar with how it's going to look, how it's going to go together, and everything. So one thing I really liked about this is there are no extra pieces once this is done, which is always appreciated. Like I said, it's just a standard, fairly good process. It's fairly easy, so not a whole lot to talk there. It was actually a fun one. It didn't take me too long to build it, but it was not a hard one at all. So that being said, let's get into accessories. So in terms of accessories, what you get are you get this little rifle, you get a standard beam saber, and this nice red color. It's not just your standard pink. You get 2 beam saber effects. You get a number of extra little hands, and you can weapon storage it by putting it here. The shield looks fairly different. Well, it looks the same, but the cross is different, and that's just something I wanted to talk about briefly at the end. But yeah, weapon storage, just pop it on the back, and Bob's your uncle, there you go. Like I said, it's pretty much the standard accessories you're gonna get with any granddaddy, so yeah. So in terms of articulation, that is probably the biggest selling point of this kit, is its articulation, that and its, redesigned look, which has proven a little controversial, but I'll talk about that in the finale. But in terms of articulation, it is amazing. Start off, the beam rifle holsters here on the backpack, they move about this much, but they do have a tendency to pop off, but you're not really going to play around as much with them. Head goes 360, and it goes down that far and back that far, which is very nice. Wow. Arm goes up about that high, and you get a full 360 on the shoulder. You get about this much of a bend in the elbow. The wrists are perfect swivels, but it's an aesthetic thing, but they do kind of pop out like this. They look like just ball joints popping out, so you're not gonna get a pretty look on that, but you get about that much of a crunch. You get about that much of an arc. The waist doesn't really move. It's not individual waist or butt flaps like on other kits, but that doesn't matter because it doesn't really impede, because look at that kick. It's individually articulated in a way that things pop out of place, they pop back in, so you don't really have to worry as much. And as you can see here, it pops out like that, and then you just kind of pop it back into place. So kick is up this high. It's a high kick, but it looks kind of strange. But overall, it's a good kick. Just pop this back into place. I'm making it seem a lot more difficult than it actually is. It's much easier to get it back into place. You get about that much of a bend in the knee. You get that much of a pivot on the ankle. Not a lot of up and down, but each of the toes here, as you can see, they're kind of, I mean, this is articulated. You can pop that out and then pop it back in. And then, haven't really tested, but I think you can do the same there, but I'm not 100%. And then for the back, I mean, you can get him almost to kick his own head. But the whole premise of this is that everything kind of pops out and then pops back in a way that it might not look the most pretty aesthetic-wise, but this thing is a king when it comes to mobility. It's like articulation, so you can get it in some really dynamic poses. And he will hold them, like just okay, not there, it's more because it's spinning, but articulation on this is probably the best articulation I've ever had in a kit. So on to the size comparison. Here is next to my previous review, the RG Uma Lightning Zaku. Here is next to the RG Ava Unit 1. Here is next to the MG Gabby Hazard, and as always, here it is next to the Nightingale. And 1 second. In case you wanted to know, next to another high grade, here it is next to the HG, you see Arjarja. So it's a small kit. I'm not gonna lie and say it isn't, but it's a pretty small kit. But I've seen smaller. I mean, here it is next to the HG UC Shin Matsunaga Zaku, which is actually, in case you can't see, it seems like it's a little shorter and it's a little smaller, but the thing about this, it's so thin and so, you know, gangly in a way where it's very thin and long, kind of like the RG Ava Unit 1 here. So overall, if I had to recommend this kit, I would definitely recommend it. Whether you've never built an HG Granddaddy or you've built 100 of them, it's unique. And this thing is very much about the pageantry of it, I guess, because it is a collaboration with Ken Okayama, and they definitely do like to show that off in a way. It is a unique design, and I know that a lot of people are not happy with the redesign. I personally like it, but I mean, it's not really an accessory. I didn't talk about there, but you get this fantastic thick art book that comes with it, and this alone might be worth the price of admission. I mean, some of these sketches are beautiful, and it gives you in English and in Japanese. This thing is amazing. I mean, the box is just this sleek black with silver. It's not like an art box that has just regular, art on it or a picture of the model. It's unique. Let me put it this way. The Granddaddy is probably one of the least unique kits out there. I know there's a bunch of redesigns and everything, but it's one of the most common. It's probably the most recognizable thing about the Gundam franchise in general. So to say that this is a unique version of it and it feels like a unique Gundam kit and a unique Gundam design says something. And I know that people are struggling to find it. I don't know if it's still sold out in most places, but if you can find it, grab it. It is worth it. Articulation alone is amazing on this thing, and it's unique up on a shelf. So overall, I like this kit. I have no nitpicks about it at all. I wasn't going and expecting a Verka kit. I didn't exactly have the highest of expectations. I wasn't expecting, it to be a miracle, amazing thing that rocked my world and changed my entire perception of Gundam and Gunpla, but for what it is, I like it. And I feel like a lot of other people will too if you give it a chance. So buy it if you get it. If you see it, I'd say grab it. Don't let the people who don't like the, solely based on the aesthetic of it fool you, or not fool you, because everyone's entitled to their valued opinion, but don't let that be the only consideration you take into account when you buy this kit. So all that being said, that's about gonna do it. Just one last quick little announcement. This is going to be the last standard review on this channel. I posted a channel update a while back. I'm gonna be shifting more towards a month, like a thematic month styled format, and check out, keep an eye on the channel for May 15th, where an announcement video will be going up for what the theme of the month is going to be come June. So it'll explain more about it at the time, but keep an eye out for that. There's a couple quote unquote lost videos that I need to put up, a couple lore videos and a couple review videos. Some of them I'm holding off intentionally to put them on the, like they fit more into a thematic month, but at some point, that doesn't mean I'm never gonna be putting reviews up. If I find a kit that comes out that doesn't really fit into a theme of a month, it's kind of unique like this, I'll post it in a general, video in the off months that I'm gonna be working on the thematic months, or I might do an entire month to oddball kits that don't really fit into anything. But long rambling aside, like, comment, subscribe, and take it easy. Gundamu, Shmo, da 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 da.